we can start with the 6 of Brad Keselowski, the green line, right? He is trending, green flag pit stop, and he goes down, which is normal, flat, and then down again. And that's because this is him serving a penalty after a pit road acceleration lane infraction.
Yeah, I really don't agree with it. So I think we should dig deeper into it and listen to audio that these two have got.
We'll start with the 6 of Brad Keselowski.
That's not what their damn email said. Their email said as long as you weren't in the racing line, and I was not in the racing line. Read the damn email 20 times. That's not what it says. You can swing wide between the white lines. So we're going to send another message. And to stay on the apron. Above the outside white line is considered the racing surface. So that is not what the email reads. So sorry about this, guys. That's obviously my fault at the end of the day. I've been racing here for 13 years. I know when you've been able to run out like that. Get an email the night before saying you can run out like that and then get a penalty for it. I don't even know what to say about that.
Obviously upset. Let's listen to the 9 of Chase Elliott.
The verbiage is you don't have to stay below the line in the center of the corner. Yeah, I mean, that's not right. I mean, I did exactly what the sheet said to do. Their sheet says you can use the track. The two officials are saying you went above the white line between turns 1 and 2 when you're arcing your corner. Stay below the white line, the second white line right here when you're arcing. They didn't say line, they said racing surface, so you tell me how I was on the racing surface.
Okay, a lot to unpack. Let's start with the communication. They both reference an email, a sheet, a communication. Over the weekend, NASCAR communicated to the team some more verbiage about how to leave the racetrack. Mike Ford from NASCAR tweeted this during, I think actually after the race. Exiting pit road, returning to the track when exiting the pits. Vehicle must use the acceleration lane through the exit of turn 2. Check your mirrors, come up on the racetrack. Makes sense. That's how it's been forever.
Yep.
Second line, which is where it gets very confusing for me. You may swing wide beyond the white line on the acceleration lane between turns 1 and 2, comma, stay off the racing surface. And then they talk about falling in line behind continuous cars. That would be for under yellow flag conditions.
This to me is the verbiage that we've always raced by.
This doesn't
that basically
seem new.
You've got to be below the grass through turns 1, below the grass through turn 2, and you can arc out in the middle of that. Just don't get out in the racing lane.
So let's take a look at the 6. Here's the penalty they called on the 6. You see the grass at the top of your screen. You're going to have the same issue below. Grass, you have to go below. Here's the 6 car. So I'm going to zoom in. That's the 6, splitting this white line. This doesn't even jump out to me as egregious. We've been coming to the Brickyard for a long time. That looks very normal for pit road exit for me.
The 9 car as well, this is an interesting one to look at because the 9 cleared the grass, big arc like you always do, trying to make speed on this flat area. He's outside of that second white line, but you were told you could go past the white line on the acceleration lane.
And there are 3 white lines. I got 1 line, 2 lines, 3 lines. Like, it's just not clear enough which line they're talking about. And if this is the line they're trying to refer, we heard NASCAR said you couldn't go above the lane. That's, quote, on the racing surface. Well, then my issue is if it goes forward, and I'm not trying to pick on Kyle Larson, I'm just going to use it because we're in the same video. Well, it's not as bad, but he's either above or he's not. And he's above. And I'm confident that if we watch pit exit for this entire pit cycle, many drivers come in contact with or barely above the white line. Now, I don't think NASCAR's making this up. The 9 was probably the highest. The 6 was high as well. But I don't believe the 9 or the 6 were outside of what we've seen at the Brickyard forever.
No. And if we go back to 2020, the last time we raced in this service, you're going to see that green flag pit cycles, guys are out that wide. I think let's show one here. This is Joey Logano in 2020. This is a normal pit exit. This is what you and I have known for multiple years as we've raced to the Brickyard.
And why I think that's okay is because it's either one or the other. You have to use the entire acceleration lane, which would be defined by, if we go back to the video here, if you want to define the acceleration lane with these 2 lines, because that's the line, then I'm okay. Whatever, that's fine. If you want to make this line right here out of bounds, I'm even okay with that. But that communication from NASCAR was way too ambiguous and not defined to start calling penalties about a random white line or the racing surface. How do you define the racing surface?
So at this point, instead of saying stay off the racing surface, that should say stay below the white line at the bottom of the racetrack. You only get 1. Make it clear,
Yeah.
because this to me was not clear. This was I would have done the same thing. Expected that the 9 and 6 were fair play. That's what we've done all along.